So you're thinking of moving to Lisbon, Portugal. Today, I'm going to take you on the most comprehensive and unique tour of Lisbon property and lifestyle using Google Maps as one of my tools. So you're thinking about moving to Lisbon, but you don't know where in Lisbon. Lisbon is so varied, from the old town to the very modern expo area, luxurious Cascais, and then north and then south. We're going to cover all of it. And I'm going to tell you about the price points for each and who would thrive in each. So if you know your budget or you know what kind of lifestyle you're looking for, whatever your criteria is, we'll cover it. And if you don't really have any criteria, you just want to move to Lisbon, then you'll have a lot of insight. And by the end of this, you're going to have a really good feeling about what part of Lisbon feels right for you. So stick around to the end. I have some surprises. Here we go. Okay, so first we're going to look at the old part of Lisbon, the really old part actually, and then some beloved areas also, just to get you oriented. So this is Lisbon right here. And I have the heart there, that's the Marquês de Pombal. It's a big roundabout with a statue of someone who's very important in the history of Lisbon. So, and I'll tell you more about him later. But I just wanted you to zoom out with me and see. We're going to start by talking about this older part here. But during this map tour, we are going to cover everything in this area, all the way up here to Torres, Vedras, and Arroios, Cascais, across the river, Costa de Caparica, down to Setúbal, Troia. So this is close in here. But then my goal is for you to see where you might like to live in Lisbon. Do you want to live in one of the old parts where you can't really have a car? Do you want to live at the beach? What do you want to do? Do you want to hike every day? Let's have a look at this map. Now, this is a map that I prepared for us before. This is the old section. And there is Graça, Alfama, and Baixa. So guess how old Alfama is? I just couldn't believe it. It's from the 8th century. 8th century, right here. 8th century. It's Moorish. So that is amazing. And that's one reason you can just feel this energy. This is special over there. Very special. Right now, it's packed with tourists, but it is still special. This is Graça. Graça is from the 13th century, and that started because there was a convent on top of the hill. And then Baixa, this is something that is an area that was completely leveled during the really big, there was an earthquake and a tsunami. It just wiped out that whole area. And then the Marquês de Pombal planned it out. It's very much on a grid, and it is earthquake resistant. They say earthquake proof. I don't know, but it's interesting. And you see this a lot. This is a very big tourist area here. And then here's Chiado. That is from, it's also very, very popular. There's the burned out Convent de Carmo over there. And there's an open air cinema there in the summertime, where they have the screen and you're sitting on the roof of this building overlooking all of a large section of the old part of Lisbon, and you can have food, drink. It's fairly small, very special, very special. But Chiado is, it feels very historic also, and it was named and placed in the 15th century, but it was developed more in the 19th century. So here we have Príncipe Real. That is also from the 19th century. This is where a lot of palaces were built, and for the wealthy. And now they are using those in different ways, really, but It's very, very upscale here. And then we have the Avenidas Novas. This was developed in the 19th century, and I was surprised about that. I thought it was more recent than that, but it's not. It's known for having very wide sidewalks, very wide esplanade there. And then Capodoric, also the 19th century. These are very popular areas with Americans. So, how much does it cost? The property in these areas in general range from 7,000 to 12,000 euros per square meter. These areas here would not be good if you have to have a car. There's no parking. There are some garages here and there, but not so much. It's mostly, you can see the trams here. These areas are pretty well served by the trams. Um, Public transportation all the way, or good old fashioned on your feet. So, good way to stay healthier from living in here. And you walk out like you're in an Instagram postcard. So that's nice. You just have to keep in mind what you're looking for. If you love being hugged by history and charm, this is your area right here. Now, this is a map that I made that shows the up and coming trendy areas. A lot of artists, young professionals, people who love to frequent art galleries or like to renovate, this sort of thing. Here is Alcantara. This is where you'll find the area LX Factory. It's like urban industrial chic on the water. And the bridge that looks like the Golden Gate Bridge ends right about here too. So in case you know where that is, you'll know exactly where this area is. And then we go all the way over here to Anjos and Arroios. Now, these used to be separate. Now they've really been incorporated just into Arroyos. This area is where you'll find a lot of creatives. You'll also find some affordable, and I put that in quotes, you'll find some more affordable real estate in this area. If you're looking for, say, a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, you might not be able to find it in your budget in any of the other Lisbon proper neighborhoods, but there's a chance you could find it in Arroyos. So it's a little bit gritty. It's very culturally diverse. It's so easy to get down to where the action is for a tourist or for the celebrations in the big square right across from the river. So this is one of my favorite areas. And then we'll go over here. Here is Beato, and Beato is very much up and coming, and it's not at the top of the price range that it's headed to fast. You can probably tell where it's headed by looking at Marvila. Marvila has increased in price faster than any of the other areas of Lisbon in the last year. The property values increased by 24%. So that's crazy. There are a lot of galleries and creative centers in both of these places. Prices for these areas that are up and coming and trendy range currently from 3,800 euros to 6,000 euros per square meter. And later I'll be showing some examples of some properties that are on the market right now. Now let's look at some of the areas that they're suburbs, but they're coastal. So this suits a lot of families and those who want to be near the beach, maybe surfing. So here's Lisbon right over here, right there. And then Oeiras, that's big for families. And there's a lot of tech companies in this area. And then Carcavelos, there, good surfing there. Cascais, now Cascais it's very affluent, very fancy. You'll find independent estates there versus apartments. There are some apartments, of course, but there are estates with some land and certainly a pool and like a palace. So a lot of Americans love Cascais. It's easy, and there's a huge group of expats there for sure. You can take a train from right here, Kaitasodre, goes right along the water all the way out to Cascais, leaving every 20 minutes. I don't know that it runs all night, but it certainly during the day, with some extended hours, it's one leaves every 20 minutes. And it takes, see, it takes right about an hour to get there. 54. Yes, it takes 1 hour by train to get there. You can also go on the A5 here, Auto Route 5, to get to Cascais in 27 minutes by car, as long as it's not rush hour. So, and here you can get, see, this is all here, it's Oeiras. And that one is 53 minutes by train or 22 minutes by car. So a lot of the time looks like it's taken up with this early part because it's just barely any longer to go to Cascais. And then Carcavelos is also on the train and is just barely more than the Oeiras. Now, here is another one, Costa de Caparica, that is across the bridge, and very nice beaches here. You'll also find surfing here. Prices are a little bit lower across the river, and the lifestyle is a little bit more laid back. There is some more, if you see, I mean, look at all this coastal area to choose from. I'll be talking about some of the others a little bit later. Okay, so this is another map that I prepared for you, and it's Sintra, which is this area. There's center of the town, and then there's a lot of countryside there. It's way more than just the Pina Palace. And here's Lisbon, just as an orientation. There's the center area. Mafra and Ericeira. Ericeira has a surf competition there every year. It's very, very popular with surfers. There are a lot of artists that live there as well. And there's some co-living and co-working spaces that are popular there. And then Torres Vedras. See, it's inland here, and it's a real small city town life. So it's very authentic Portuguese lifestyle, and the price is right. You'll find some land there as well. Prices are much cheaper there than, say, down here in Lisbon. And it is still very accessible. You'd need a car. You would definitely need a car, but it's 48 minutes by car on the A8. Certainly, if you're coming from an area where you're used to long commutes, this would be an easy one. And a lot of families like Torres Vedras because you'll typically have a house with a land. Some of them have pools. It's very, very family friendly. So, regarding the airports, the new airport at Alcachete will open, is proposed to open, hopefully they'll be on time, 2034. So still a few years off. And I thought that they were going to keep both of them open, but as it turns out, they're proposing that the new airport will replace the current airport, which will be outstanding as long as the new one can handle the volume, because it will do away with that noise corridor that I showed you. So, but that's a few years off. So in the meantime, my advice to you is if you're considering buying or even renting, certainly if you're going to be buying, in anywhere along that noise corridor that I showed, I want you to ask about the window type, ask about the building insulation. And expert tip is to insist on making a visit to the apartment during rush hour and when the flights are going over, and be there and see what it's like for a couple of planes to be going over. How loud is it? Are you able to talk? In my other apartment, people had stopped talking really because it was so noisy. So check that out, and that's exciting. Also, property values I expect will change. I expect that that's going to make the property values go up a little bit on the noise corridor. So probably properties will go up in the area that's convenient to the Alcachete Airport also, just because some people travel often and they want that quick, easy access to the airport. So if you're an investor or you like to plan ahead, then keep that in mind too. So that's my advice and my information for the airports. I think it's important to look at this noise map because I actually lived right in the flight path here, right about here. And it's so noisy and it feels like a plane is going to crash into your building. So pay attention. Also, note that this is just the small area of what I call Lisbon proper. It's not the Lisbon district, which is much larger. But here is the Tagus, the river right here that's gray on this side. And this is the flight path. That's why it's red. It's a heat map for noise, basically. So if you'll notice there's Alcantara and the LX factories in this area. Estrella's over here. It's more in yellow to green, but Alcantara is near the red. So is Campo del Rique, Campolide. A little bit of Avenida Novas is just a little bit west of there, like where El Corte Inglés is. I used to work in a co-working space that was right across the street from El Corte Inglés, and they had this wonderful rooftop with a cafe, and you could just sit there on one of the many beautiful days in Lisbon and enjoy, but regularly, one after the other, these giant planes would fly over and you'd have to stop your conversation because it was so loud. So then we go up through Avalon, and then here is the current airport right here. Now, they are changing airports. The new airport's scheduled to open in 2034, so that's a bit away from now. So for now, I think it's really important for you to keep in mind the noise map. So if you're looking at a property to rent or to buy anywhere in this red noise zone right here, do yourself a favor and visit at different times of the day. If you can't have access to the apartment, which would be ideal, you want to see how good are those windows? How good is that insulation? If you can't get in as often as you'd like because the limitations with showings, then go to the building itself and just be there and see how loud it is from the outside. Because keep in mind, even if your windows are fantastic, do you really want to be locked into your building? Do you want to be able to be outside, walking around, and be able to carry on a conversation and not feel like you might have to dive for cover or just die right then because of these planes? They're big, they're coming right over your head, and they are loud. This is from one of the online real estate sites. Keep in mind, these are often not kept up to date. The listings are not kept up to date. The individual realtors are the ones who put the listings up. So sometimes they'll leave a popular listing up just to get leads and then redirect to something that is still available. So you have to keep that in mind. But I thought this would be interesting because this is the Lisbon district. Here, let me show you. Okay, see, this is the Lisbon district here versus this is what we're often thinking about when we say Lisbon right here. It's not actually the only Lisbon. You talk about Lisbon, the district, and see, Torres Vedras is right there. And that is 48 minutes by car from the Marquês de Pombal, which would be about right here. But you're still well within the Lisbon district. Here, Sintra, Cascais, and Estoril. Okay, now another thing I want you to notice about this map while we're here is
the color gradient. See, if you look here, the darker it gets, the more expensive in euros per meter squared. This is the map from one of the online real estate sites. And like I've said before, it's not kept updated completely. So you have to keep that in mind, but it's still an interesting reference. So this is a color gradient, and the darker the color, the more expensive in euros per meter squared. And this is the Lisbon area that we normally think of, the Baixa and Alfama, Graça, Chiado, Príncipe Real, Avedinhas Novas, Arroios, Avalon, all that is right in here. And there are different gradients here. If you see it white, that for some reason they're saying they have insufficient data, but I'm not sure how that works. Just keep that in mind. This is expensive. Here's Oeiras, and there's an area there that is darker. Some of these areas are much lighter, which means they're less expensive. So it is different. And look across the river, right along here, right along the beach in Costa de Caparica. It's slightly darker, but it's still much lighter than most of this Lisbon proper, like I call it. And then there are other areas that are even lighter there. So this reminds us that most of the houses in this whole area were built before 1960. This would be a good exception to that. The Parc de Neshoish, also called Expo. You notice it's a little bit darker than a lot of this surrounding area because it is considered premium pricing. So let's have a look here. All the way over here is Parc des Neshoish, also called Expo. Here's the Vasco da Gama Bridge right here. There is a bike path, separated safe bike path that goes all the way. They call it the bicycle superhighway from Park Disney Swash all the way, pretty close to the water, all the way over to Belém. And I see a lot of people on that on the weekends, especially. That's one thing you can do. And then going out this way towards Cascais, you have wide sidewalks. I see people biking on that as well. If you like to hike, this is an urban forest right here, Monsanto. Park Florestal de Monsanto. They have various sports fields there. It's wooded. There is at the top of one of the hills, because this is very hilly, there's an abandoned old restaurant. I'm going to show you the terrain. See, it's pretty hilly here. There's an old restaurant where Madonna filmed a video a while back. And so if you're a Madonna fan, if you like to look up videos, look for her video that was filmed at the old restaurant on Monsanto. I don't think you can get access to it anymore, but one of my kids and I went on a hike all the way up there, and you could just roam freely through this old restaurant. It's on multiple stories and fantastic views in all sides. And it's a special place for graffiti, but not to be destructive, but beautiful artwork. So, and then there were walls of gorgeous tiles from when it was a restaurant. So it was very interesting. There were multiple bolts. That's looking ride share coming to get people because we weren't the only ones who were hiking up to check that out. Now, on this Google map, I have turned on the layer that shows the terrain, the topography. So you can see where there are hills and look at some of these hills down here. Pretty impressive. And then you can see the areas that have very little in the way of hills. That would be where the Avenidas Novas is. Very walkable. So you'd never guess, just looking at the regular map, that some of these areas are so hilly. Now, let's look at transit. You can see here the different markers for the different types of transit. Here is the older part, and you can see the tram. You can see where the tram goes all through here. There. And then there's the metro. They are expanding the metro a little bit. Things take time, but they're expanding it. Some of it goes way out to Centra. See, the train goes out to Centra. And the train also goes to Cascais. So you have this line is a train. It leaves from Caida and it goes out there every 20 minutes. The train leaves. Here's the map that still shows the various transit, and this going across the river is the April 25th bridge. It looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, and it is to commemorate the Carnation Revolution from 1974, April 25th, 1974, where there was a shift from the dictatorship to democracy. And you'll see that the transit goes across this bridge. And then over here is the Vasco da Gama Bridge, the very long bridge. And you don't currently see any transit there. But here is where the Alcachit airport is going to be, the one that will open in 2034. And there is also a plan to have a train going over there. So then you'll have the new airport connected via the Vasco da Gama bridge, bringing it over to Lisbon. When they finish and open the Alcachit airport that will be replacing the current airport here, then this one will close. That's the current plan. And all of the air traffic will be over here. So then this noise corridor here will be so much nicer. So keep that in mind. So here on the Google map is the layer that shows the traffic. And if it's dark red, it's extremely slow or stopped. If it's green, it's fast and go. So notice here, there's almost always some slowdown in the April 25th bridge. And currently, right now, I am recording this on a Wednesday, August 13th at 10:24 in the morning. So mid-morning in the summer on a Wednesday. There's a toll booth over here, right about here. And so that's one reason it always gets backed up. It goes from, I don't even know how many lanes, but you'll be going along normally and then it'll split into maybe, I think it's like 15 lanes. And sometimes not all of the booths are open. Some of them are, if you have the little electronic pass, you just go through. And then some of them accept cards only. Some of and are not manned, and some of them are manned and accept, well, anything, whatever you have, cash or a card that's not working in the regular card reader. And then you go from all those 15 different lanes down to 3 again. So it's pretty crazy. You also have a little bit of slowing right here. Probably people going to the airport, or maybe there's a little crash there. Here, out here in Cascais, there's a little bit. Now we're back on the real estate site that's online, the one that I said is not kept up to date necessarily. And I want to, let's figure out what the prices are right now listed on there. So as a reminder, see this little dotted line here, this is the Lisbon district, which is different from a municipality. So let's look at Lisbon, the municipality, which is right here. You recognize this shape? It's the shape that we looked at on the noise map, for instance. You have the Lisbon municipality now. And so now let's dive even deeper. So now we're going to look at districts within the municipality. So let's start with Alcantara. And this is one where I think they didn't have adequate data for something. I'm not sure why. There's the LX factory area right there. And you can get a feel for, see, when you're at the LX factory, here it is, then you can look up and you can see the April 25th bridge. You can see the freeway right there already dedicated to go onto that bridge. And then down here is the converted warehouses. That is the LX factory. And even Alcantara, see, it has different areas within it. And it says 295 homes for sale in Alcantara. Okay, so let's look at, we're going to look at the lowest. The lowest would be a studio. So T0 means it's a studio. It has 60 square meters. It's on the ground floor. People don't like the ground floor so much. Let's see exactly where on the map that is. Okay, so the river's here. It's right there. So 199,000. Okay, and now let's see what the highest price is there. Okay, so this is a luxury property. It's a 3 bedrooms. There's T3, 320 meter squared. And let's see where it is. Oh, okay. Now I may have mentioned this before. For privacy reasons, the advertiser has not indicated the exact address. That happens all the time. So you really can't tell too much. You're at a dead end. You know it's in Alcantara. So you have to have a realtor like me to help you figure out exactly where it is and to go have a look. That is quite the range, right? 199,000 to 3.6 million. Okay, so let's go see Lisbon district and then Lisbon municipality. Let's have a look at, I want to show you some other, okay. So let's look at Cascais, for instance. Okay, let's look at the lowest price in Cascais to buy. It's 160,000 euros for a T1, so that's a 1 bedroom with 51 meters squared. It's on the ground floor, and let's see exactly where that is. Okay, for privacy reasons, the advertiser has not indicated the exact address. Okay, but you see this view here? We know it's within that view, so I'm just going to pull back and leave marker. So it's right around in this area right here. So that one's 160,000 for a 1 bedroom. Now let's look at the highest price. All right, detached house, and it's a T22, so it's a 22 bedroom, 5,000 meters squared, to be like 50,000 square feet approximately. This fantastic and exclusive 17th century estate, fully recovered with 26 hectares of land, is located on the border between the municipalities of Cascais, and we'd have to open it to read further, but 60 million euros, parking included. So let's see if they show us this on the map. Okay, well, for privacy reasons, the advertiser has not indicated the exact address. Okay, so let's just see. It's okay, so it would be right in this area here. Alcapodice, perhaps. I did not learn how to pronounce that one yet, but it's right in this area. And then other than that, there's 28.5 million for a T6, 28 million for a T6, 25 million for a T5. This one says it's the unique mansion in the world located in the Centra Mountains. So it even looks like it has a bit of a Disney look to it. Okay, see, there are a lot. There's no shortage to the luxury properties in Cascais. No shortage at all. Look, we're going for pages and pages. It's still 13.5 million, and we're on page 1. Let's go out to say page 5 and see. Okay, 5 pages in, sorted from the most expensive down to the least. On page 5, we're still at 5.85 million euros. If you want to live like royalty, I think you'd have ample opportunity in the Cascais area. Okay, and now here it's sorted by lowest price again, 61.80, 200, 205, 210. A lot of these are studios. Some of them are 2 bedrooms. Here, this means it's this apartment right here. 2-bedroom, 61 meters squared, second floor without lift. So that means no elevator. Also, something good to know is the ground floor is 0, and then you have 1 and 2. So in the States, the ground floor would be 1, 2, and 3. So that takes some getting used to. Don't be fooled by that. So second floor would mean 2 floors up. Let's go to 5 here. Okay, so 5 pages in, sorting from the lowest to the most expensive. It's in the low 300s. Looks like that one has a nice outdoor terrace. Outdoor living spaces are wonderful in the Lisbon area because the weather, especially in the shoulder seasons and winter, I mean, it does rain some, but it's so nice. While the rest of the world is complaining about shoveling snow, you're sitting on your terrace or your balcony, relaxing. No snow to shovel. Let's have a look at, let's look at Torres Vedras. Okay. Torres Vedras it's a 48-minute drive from Lisbon city center. Now these are the lowest prices. These are ruins. See, it even says it's a ruin. So if you are ambitious about a project, looks like there are a lot of projects in the Torres Vedras area. Now look here. This is a roof, and there are holes in the roof right there. Right there. Those are holes in the roof. And there are more holes in the roof. I think that whole thing is a hole in the roof. So 46,500 for studio, but you'd need to come in knowing that there's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. However, it's 156 meters squared and has potential for the right person. Let's look at the highest price in Torres Vedras. Okay, but I honestly didn't expect to see this. It's a $6.5 million, million euro property. And sometimes you'll see the same property, different photography, different agencies. So it's best just to have someone that you're working with, like us. We'd be happy to help you. We are a bilingual staff. My partner has been here for nearly 25 years, is perfectly fluent, and also knows how things work in Portugal, which are sometimes they work extremely slowly. You need someone who can get things done in an American way sometimes, and that would be my partner. Let's go to about the middle. Let's go to page 4 and see what's going on there. Okay, still 800s. Good bit of land with some of these properties. We actually have some land itself, that's buildable, that is for sale now in Torres Vedras. Okay, some big properties out. It's a T6, 315 meters squared, detached, has a garage, a swimming pool. So there are some things to think about when you are thinking of moving to the Lisbon area. Do you want to live in Lisbon city center? Do you want to be able to walk everywhere? Do you want to have a car? If you have a car, are you going to park it in a public garage? Do you need a garage in your own building? Or do you want to live a little bit outside of Lisbon city center and have a detached house, maybe with your own pool, your own yard? Maybe you want an estate with several acres or hectares. Do you want something historic, full of charm and history? Or do you want something brand new, very modern? There are a lot of considerations. How do you feel about being close to the beach? Or do you prefer to be up in the mountains a little bit, maybe in the forest? Center has a microclimate where it's cooler. There's a lot of forested areas and higher elevation there. Some people like to walk out of their home every day and have a quick little walk to the beach, go surfing every day. Depends on your lifestyle. Do you want to be next to a bike path? What about international schools? Do you have children you're bringing? Are you going to be in school? Do you need to be close to a university or a research facility? Or are you going to be working with a tech company? Are you going to be a digital nomad? Could you live absolutely anywhere? You want some place where you could just lock up and go because you have other places in the world that you spend time in also? Or do you want to live in a small town or village that feels authentic, that has its little local character, where you get to know everyone, everyone gets to know you, people leave fruit at your door while you're out? I recommend you do some meditating, some journaling. If you need help thinking through all the possibilities, if you want to figure out what your budget would allow you, if that's going to play a big role, just make an appointment with us. You can contact us. Our contact information is in the description below. We will be happy to spend some time with you to help you figure out where would be the best fit for you in the Lisbon area. And we can introduce you to one of our credit brokers that we work with, help you to get pre-qualified so you know exactly what budget you can work with, or maybe you're paying cash. We do have quite a few clients who prefer to pay cash. Some who could pay cash still want a mortgage though, because the mortgage rates here are so much cheaper. They're around 3%, depending on if you're going to live in it as your main home or if you're going to have it as a rental. Some people rent their homes out, but it's still so much lower rate wise than you might be used to in the States. So we can help you get that taken care of if it's a property that is going to need some renovations or some updating. We have a team for that. We can help you with that. Just give us a call. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, we can help you. We have people like you call us all the time. We help you, and we'd love to help you make a smooth move to Portugal.